Hey, here's my long-term review 10 months in with the Magic Keyboard for iPad.
Yeah.
So hey, if you're new around here, my name is Sam Figueroa. I'm a coder, photographer, and starting YouTuber now, I guess. My channel's mainly going to focus around tutorials, tech reviews, and a bunch of vlogs, which I mostly like doing outside while hiking and taking a walk, things like that. So stick around. I've been using this with my iPad Pro for my 12.9-inch version. There's one for the 11-inch iPad Pro as well, and the new iPad Air 4th Gen also works with this. These start out at $299 for the 11-inch version, and the 12.9-inch version is $350. So it's not the cheapest accessory, and to be honest, it's probably the most expensive keyboard mouse combo I've ever bought, but I think it's still worth it. So what I really liked about the 12.9-inch version is that it's basically a full-size keyboard. It's the same as my regular mechanical keyboard or the one on the MacBook Pro. But versus the 2018 MacBook Pro, the typing feel is so much better. So much better. I wish the 2018 MacBook Pro had a keyboard like that because that thing was just fucking trash. Calm down. So the typing feel is really nice. I like the amount of travel. The clickiness is quite nice. What I also like about it is it's not quite as loud as the 2018 MacBook Pro keyboard or my mechanical keyboard. Doesn't sound too bad either. It's also a nice option to be writing something in bed and not disturb your partner too much to the level that they can't sleep. Speaking of typing in dark places, I can generally type without looking, but it's still nice to have a little backlight, and it kind of looks cool as well. One of the big gripes a lot of people have voiced about that keyboard is the lack of dedicated media keys. I don't find it to be that much of a problem because the iPad has dedicated volume hardware buttons that are almost as easy to reach, and Control Center is always just a tiny swipe away for most of the things that I want to do. And I kind of find that just using my finger on Control Center is way more efficient than trying to tap out the right setting on a keyboard. So while the trackpad is not the same kind as you find on the MacBook Pros and not as big, it is still very nice to use, smooth to touch, and the clicks are very accurate. And I don't actually miss the huge trackpad on the MacBook Pro at all on this. The way Apple implemented the cursor on the iPad OS is quite nice too. I like the way it morphs into buttons when you're close to them. Even though not all apps support it yet, the ones that do are very nice to use because of this feature. So since this has a dual purpose, as in it's also a case, not just the keyboard and trackpad, it's made it to be like the iPad is my laptop replacement. I've been carrying it around mostly as a laptop replacement, and it works very much fine for that. I still do video editing on my PC workstation and code work for my day job on a MacBook Pro, but other than that, it's basically my go-to computer for most things. So the case is quite sturdy and hard on the outside, and it'll keep my iPad safe, and I don't feel bad just carrying it around in that. Although when I throw it in my bag, I just throw it in a neoprene sleeve just to be safe from scratches and scuffs. I really like that they added a USB-C port on this case, which you can charge from, because sometimes it's just awkward in some situations where you only have one side where the charging cable comes from, and just routing it there would be, just plain uncomfortable. So it's a really nice feature for them to add. In terms of stability while working with the keyboard, on a desk setup, it is very sturdy for me, and I don't have any problems at all. And working with it on my lap, since it's kind of top heavy with the screen tilted all the way back, I always make sure to keep one hand on the palm rest just to make sure it doesn't tip backwards. In most situations, it's fine, but there is the odd event where you use the touch feature of the screen and you just tend to poke it over a little bit. So if you don't keep one hand there, you might tip it over. So keep that in mind. They try to kind of counter it with the weight of the whole thing. The keyboard itself is kind of heavy, so this may actually be heavier than some laptops out there. So if carrying weight is an issue for you, take that into account. I really like the sturdiness of the hinge. When typing and using the trackpad, I don't see any wobbling, and unless you're poking the screen really hard, the iPad just stays put, and I really like the way that feels. Feels just as great working with this laid back on a fat boy or somewhere on a couch as this does with any laptop. So if you're the kind of person that likes to take it down a notch a bit and get into a more comfy position while doing some work, this will work for you as well. I've seen a few people suggest the con that the bottom edge of the iPad is too close to your fingers while typing, but to me it's actually a feature because while you're typing, the auto suggest will be on the bottom edge of the iPad screen, and it's very easy to reach while typing that way. I like the touch and feel of the outside. It's nice and smooth and not the biggest fingerprint magnet, but the thing that disturbs me the most about it is it's kind of bland and it only comes in one color. So I'm glad I'm finally doing this review because I didn't want to put stickers on it until I did this video, so now it's time to give this thing a little personal touch. So final remarks, if you're asking yourself, is it worth buying this in 2021? So if you're the kind of person who types a lot and this is more or less your primary device, I definitely say if you have the 12.9 inch version, get it. If you're on the 11th inch version, I highly recommend trying it out with a friend or in a store experience first because the 11th inch version is quite a bit more condensed and the typing experience on that is not as nice as on the 12.9 inch version. So definitely give it a try before buying since you might not like the way the condensed version on the 11 inch works. If you're still watching, thanks a lot. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up, it really helps out. If you didn't like it, just roast me in the comments, tell me a GTFO or something. And otherwise, if you'd like to help me and starting this channel out a bit, I'd appreciate if you stick around and check out some of my other videos. And until then, I'll see you guys next time. That's it, we're done. Computer self-destruct sequence.
Command code not recognized. Self-destruct sequence not initiated.
Computer, initiate self-destruct sequence. Command code Alpha Delta 5.
Voice authorization accepted, Captain.
It's gonna go boom now.